Sarah's heart raced as she found herself trapped inside the haunted house, surrounded by the chilling presence of vengeful spirits. The dim moonlight that filtered through the dusty windows cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper, heightening her fear. Determined not to succumb to panic, Sarah forced herself to think clearly. She remembered the tales she had heard about the house, stories of a tragic family that had once lived there, their souls forever bound to the premises. Legend had it that a hidden key held the power to release them from their torment. With trembling hands, Sarah rummaged through her backpack, hoping to find any tools that could aid her escape. Her fingers brushed against a metal object, a rusty key she had picked up earlier while exploring a hidden room. A glimmer of hope surged within her. Following her instincts, Sarah retraced her steps back to the room where she had found the key. The air grew heavier as she approached the door, the whispers growing louder in her ears. The key trembled in her hand as she inserted it into the lock, hesitating for a moment before summoning the courage to turn it. As the door swung open, a gust of cold wind rushed through the corridor, extinguishing the dim candlelight that had flickered in the hallways. The darkness swallowed her surroundings, leaving her with nothing but the sound of her own heartbeat echoing in her ears. Using her phone as a feeble source of light, Sarah ventured further into the unknown, driven by the desperate desire to escape the clutches of the vengeful spirits. The house seemed to morph and twist, disorienting her at every turn. The walls groaned, as if the very essence of the house resisted her presence. Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, blocking her path. Sarah froze, her breath catching in her throat. The figure moved closer, its ghostly form becoming more distinct. It was the apparition of a young girl, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. With a trembling voice, Sarah spoke to the spirit, pleading for her help. To her surprise, the ghostly girl nodded, her face etched with an expression of empathy. Wordlessly, she pointed to a hidden door concealed behind a decaying bookshelf. Summoning every ounce of bravery, Sarah pushed the bookshelf aside, revealing a narrow passageway that led deep into the bowels of the house. The girl's spirit floated alongside her, guiding her steps through the labyrinthine tunnels. As they navigated the winding maze, Sarah felt a growing sense of liberation. The oppressive presence that had plagued her earlier began to dissipate, replaced by a glimmer of hope. Finally, they arrived at a small chamber where a forgotten journal lay atop an ancient pedestal. With a sense of urgency, Sarah picked up the journal and began to read. It detailed the tragic story of the family who had once lived in the haunted house, a tale of betrayal and lost love that had trapped their souls within its walls. With newfound understanding, Sarah realized that the spirits sought justice and closure. Empathy welled up within her as she vowed to help them find peace. Using the knowledge she had gained from the journal, Sarah embarked on a quest to uncover the truth behind their tragic fate. Days turned into nights as Sarah delved into the forgotten history of the haunted house. She unearthed long-buried secrets, confronted past wrongdoings, and sought forgiveness on behalf of the tormented souls. In her tireless pursuit, she discovered the resting place of a hidden artifact, a symbol of reconciliation. Returning to the haunted house, Sarah stood before the spirits, clutching the artifact in her trembling hands. She recited a heartfelt plea, urging them to find solace and release their burdened souls. As her voice echoed through the empty corridors, a hush fell over the house. The spirits, their ethereal forms flickering with anticipation, listened intently to Sarah's words. With tears streaming down her face, Sarah extended the artifact toward the apparitions. A moment of silence hung in the air, pregnant with anticipation. Then, a faint glimmer of light emanated from the artifact, enveloping the spirits in a warm, comforting glow. One by one, the vengeful specters began to fade away, their anguished expressions replaced by expressions of serenity. As the last spirit dissipated into the ether, the house itself seemed to exhale, as if finally released from the burden of its haunted past. Sarah collapsed to her knees, exhausted yet elated. The oppressive atmosphere that had once gripped the house vanished completely, replaced by a newfound sense of tranquility. The abandoned house, once a symbol of terror, now stood as a monument to healing and redemption. Word of Sarah's bravery and her successful endeavor spread throughout the town, and people came from far and wide to witness the transformed haunted house. The dwelling, once shunned and feared, became a place of fascination, its walls now adorned with paintings and sculptures inspired by the spirit stories. Sarah's courageous journey not only liberated the trapped souls, but also inspired a renewed sense of community. People began to share their own tales of forgiveness and redemption, finding solace in the fact that no matter how haunted their past may be, there is always a path to healing. Years later, the haunted house became a sanctuary for those seeking closure and inner peace. It stood as a reminder that even in the darkest of places, the light of compassion and understanding can shine through, dispelling the shadows that haunt us. As for Sarah, she remained forever changed by her encounter with the haunted house. She dedicated her life to helping others confront their fears and find resolution, becoming a renowned paranormal investigator and counselor. Her story served as a beacon of hope for those who face their own personal hauntings, guiding them toward a future free from the shackles of the past. And so, the legend of the haunted house transformed from a tale of terror into a story of redemption and the power of empathy. It stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, reminding all who entered its doors that no darkness is insurmountable when faced with courage, compassion, and a willingness to confront the ghosts within. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as the phone continued to ring relentlessly. Each ring seemed to echo throughout her small apartment, amplifying her anxiety. The previous nights had been filled with silent calls, but this time, she knew what awaited her, a menacing voice poised to shatter her fragile sense of security. Summoning every ounce of courage, Emily steeled herself and answered the call. The voice that greeted her sent a shiver down her spine, its low, sinister tone slithering into her ear. "You'll never be safe," it growled, leaving Emily's nerves frayed and her determination hardened. With a surge of adrenaline, Emily made a decision. She would no longer be a victim cowering in the dark corners of her own fear. If her tormentor sought to instill terror, she would face it head-on. Armed with her baseball bat, Emily ventured out into the night, determined to unmask the shadow that haunted her existence. The city streets were bathed in the glow of dim streetlights, casting elongated shadows that seemed to dance around her, taunting her resolve. As she walked, her senses heightened, scanning her surroundings for any signs of danger. Emily felt eyes upon her, the chilling sensation of being watched intensifying with each step. The midnight hour weighed heavy, as if the world held its breath in anticipation. Then, she saw it, a figure lurking in the shadows, obscured by the darkness. Emily's heart skipped a beat as she approached, her grip tightening on the baseball bat. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face distorted by malice and an unsettling grin. It was a person she knew, a former acquaintance who had once shown kindness but had turned into a twisted embodiment of cruelty. The realization sent a surge of disbelief and betrayal coursing through Emily's veins. "Why?" she managed to utter, her voice choked with emotion. The tormentor's eyes gleamed with malevolence as they revealed their motive, an insidious vendetta born out of envy and resentment. Emily's anger rose, overpowering her fear. She refused to allow herself to be a pawn in this twisted game of revenge. Raising the baseball bat, she confronted her tormentor with an unwavering gaze, vowing to put an end to the madness. In a desperate attempt to escape justice, the tormentor lunged at Emily, but she evaded the attack with agility and determination. The battle between them raged on, both physically and emotionally, as they fought for control and retribution. Finally, in a climactic clash, Emily delivered a decisive blow, incapacitating her assailant. As her tormentor lay on the ground, defeated and vulnerable, Emily realized that she had triumphed not only over her fear, but also over the darkness that had threatened to consume her. Taking a deep breath, Emily dialed the emergency services, ensuring her tormentor would be held accountable for their actions. The midnight caller would haunt her dreams no more. In the aftermath, Emily discovered a newfound strength within herself, a resilience born from facing her deepest fears. She refused to let the experience define her, vowing to rebuild her life and regain her sense of security. From that day forward, Emily became an advocate for others who had experienced similar traumas, offering support and guidance to those who had been victims of harassment and stalking. Her journey became a testament to the power of standing up against injustice and finding empowerment in the face of fear. Though the scars remained, Emily emerged from the darkness, a beacon of hope for those who dared to confront their own midnight callers, proving that even in the depths of despair, courage and resilience can triumph over the darkest of nights. Jacob's heart pounded in his chest as he realized he had become hopelessly lost in the depths of the foreboding forest. What had begun as a serene journey into nature's embrace had transformed into a nightmarish ordeal. The once vibrant foliage now seemed to close in around him, casting long shadows that whispered of hidden dangers. As dusk settled, the forest became ominously quiet. The stillness was broken only by the distant hooting of an owl and the rustling of unseen creatures in the underbrush. Jacob's senses sharpened, every nerve on edge as he navigated the labyrinth of towering trees. Strange sounds echoed from the shadows, whispers that slithered through the air, sending shivers down his spine. The forest seemed to come alive with twisted figures that darted between the trees, their presence both elusive and menacing. Fear gripped Jacob's heart, but he knew he had to keep moving, hoping to find his way back to the safety of civilization. In his frantic search for an exit, he stumbled upon a forgotten path leading deeper into the woods. Reluctantly, he followed, sensing it was his only chance to escape the encroaching darkness. The path twisted and turned, leading Jacob deeper into the heart of the forest. But as he continued, the ground beneath him began to shake, reverberating with an otherworldly power. It was then that he stumbled upon an ancient, overgrown cemetery, its moss-covered tombstones whispering tales of forgotten souls. A chill ran down Jacob's spine as the ghostly figures emerged from the ethereal mist, their hollow eyes fixated upon him. They reached out with bony, desiccated hands, beckoning him to join their spectral realm. Realizing that he had stumbled upon a haunted burial ground, Jacob's instinct for self-preservation kicked in. He had no intention of becoming another lost soul trapped in the clutches of the forest's ancient curse. Summoning his dwindling courage, Jacob mustered all his strength and darted through the cemetery, desperately seeking an escape route. He weaved between the tombstones, feeling the chill of the spirit's presence inch closer with each passing moment. Just as despair threatened to consume him, Jacob spotted a faint glimmer of light breaking through the dense canopy overhead. It was a small window of hope, a sign of a potential exit from this haunted labyrinth. With renewed determination, Jacob raced toward the light, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The ground trembled beneath his feet as the ghostly figures closed in, their moans echoing in his ears. In a final burst of adrenaline-fueled energy, Jacob burst through the trees and into an open clearing. Moonlight bathed the grassy meadow, offering a brief respite from the forest's relentless grip. He had made it out alive. As he collapsed onto the soft earth, Jacob realized the importance of cherishing the beauty and wonder of nature without trespassing into realms best left undisturbed. The haunting experience had forever changed him, imbuing him with a profound respect for the delicate balance between the seen and the unseen. Jacob emerged from the haunted woods a wiser and humbler adventurer. Though he still yearned for the thrill of exploration, he now treaded carefully, mindful of the ancient forces that lay dormant within the natural world. From that day forward, Jacob became a storyteller, sharing his harrowing encounter to caution others against the perils of venturing too deep into the unknown. His tale served as a reminder that even the most intrepid explorers must approach the uncharted territories of life with both curiosity and reverence, lest they risk becoming forever lost in the haunting embrace of the untamed wilderness.